Today's third video for you is first news stories about some programs held in connection with the second anniversary of Hachalu's murder. Iconic Oromo singer was assassinated 2 years ago on the 29th of June. Today, an award ceremony was also held at a hotel. Hachalu's widow took part in the ceremony. The ceremony organized by Hachalu Hundessa Foundation. Secondly, Oromo Federalist Congress and Oromo Liberation Front both issued statements about Hachalu's death anniversary, but it seems that Oromo Federalist Congress, Jawar Bekle Garba, Professor Miragudina Party is stepping back from its position about its calls for independent investigation into Hachalu's murder. A second news story is about General Tadesse Werede's detailed briefing, 90-minute long talk. What did he say? His briefing is a message for Eritrea as well. We'll have a detailed look at General Werede's message at a crucial time when Ethiopian federal government and Tigray regional government are about to start talks. General Werede says that TDF is fully prepared. Prepared for what? Third news story is a statement by Oromo Liberation Army about Tole massacre happened a few days ago in Valaga, Gimbi, in which hundreds of civilians were killed. OLA says that almost a week has passed, but government has not opened this place, this area so far. Fourthly, Sudanese military convoys have been seen moving towards eastern Sudan, where we know that tensions are running high. Sudan's military conducted some artillery strikes too. Ethiopian National Defense Force is showing restraint, and meanwhile Sudan's military is stepping up its presence in border areas. Lastly, we have clips for you from Amhara region, where student bodies and residents of the region are trying to start a street movement. Protests are underway, but government has launched crackdown on student bodies. Student leaders are being arrested. We have two clips for you. One is from Debre Berhan University, where we know that last night government forces tried to arrest some student leaders. Second clip is from Shava Robit town of Amhara region. Firstly, viewers, Wednesday, 29th of June was the second death anniversary of iconic Oromo singer Hachalu, a singer, an activist who played a key role in Oromo protests, which led to the removal of EPRDF government. EMRB came to power. Then Hachalu was assassinated, it is said, in 2020. 2 years have passed, but his death is still shrouded in mystery. Who killed him? No one knows. No one can say for sure. Today, some programs were held, some statements were issued. Firstly, in 2021, his wife established a foundation, Hachalu Hundessa Foundation, and a few months ago, this foundation announced that on the 29th of June, awards will be granted to Afan Oromo singers. So today a ceremony was held at a hotel and awards were given. You can see some pictures on your screen from today's ceremony. Sisse Asifa was awarded for the best Afan Oromo song of the year. Hachalu's wife attended this program too. Secondly, top Oromo opposition parties issued statements today in connection with this death anniversary of Hachalu. Oromo Liberation Front and Oromo Federalist Congress, both parties released statements. Oromo Liberation Front condemned Hachalu's murder, saying that Hachalu was icon of Oromo struggle for liberation, and the struggle will continue. And OLF mentioned names of several artists who went missing, who were killed, who were detained, apart from Hachalu. And OLF once again reiterated its position that there should be independent investigation into Hachalu's murder. Perpetrators, assassins should be brought to justice. That is what Oromo Liberation Front, led by Daud Ibsa, said in the statement today. But interestingly, Oromo Federalist Congress did not make this demand in the statement. Oromo Federalist Congress praised Hachalu, that he was icon of Oromo struggle will continue. He sacrificed for Oromo people, but no word on investigations. It has been a position adopted by OFC in the past that there should be justice served, that assassin should be identified, brought to justice. But in this statement, there is no call for independent investigation into Hachalu's murder. Why is that? Is OFC, Oromo Federalist Congress, Jawar, Bekle Garba, Hamza Burana, Professor Miragudina party, is it stepping back from its consistent position of the past that there should be independent investigation of Hachalu's murder? It seems. Otherwise, the party should have mentioned, it has been a key demand of this party, that Hachalu's murder was not properly investigated. A second news story is about a 90-minute long briefing by General Tadesse Werede, Commander-in-Chief of Tigray Defense Force, at a crucial time when Ethiopian federal government and Tigray regional government are about to start negotiations. General Werede held this 90-minute long conversation. What did he say? First point, very important, was he said Tigray Defense Force has completed its preparations for another phase of its struggle. Now, when an army says that it has finished preparations, what does it mean? It means that army has manpower, army has weapons, army has chalked out all the plans, it has done all the homework, it is ready, it has identified targets, it has planned, it knows what are its targets, how it will achieve the targets, it has done all the work. And in recent months, we have seen that Tigray has been busy recruiting. Large-scale recruitments were conducted by Tigray Defense Force. Though we received reports about conscriptions too, that Tigray government forced families that they should send their daughters, sons to be part of Tigray Defense Force. And even Lucy Kasa, who is seen as pro-Tigray, a Tigrayan herself, she confirmed in a piece that conscription was in practice in Tigray. So it seems that whether through conscription or through voluntary recruitment, Tigray Defense Force has recruited large number of fighters in recent months. Has TDF acquired some weapons too? It's not clear. It's not likely that TDF would have acquired weapons from outside of Tigray. But what we do know is that when TDF withdrew from Mekelle, Aksum, Shere, etc. In November, December 2020, TDF hid all its weapons underground. And some of these weapons were recovered, heavy weapons, and seized by Eritrean forces, Ethiopian National Defense Force. It seems that TDF is now in possession of what it hid under the ground and what it seized from Ethiopian National Defense Force last year. So TDF is now fully equipped in terms of manpower, in terms of weapons, in terms of planning. TDF is all set to start a new offensive, waiting for orders from Tigray regional government. First point. Secondly, very important point was General Werede said, what Eritrea has done, Tigray has not forgotten. And crimes were committed by Eritrean army against Tigrayans. And Tigray Defense Force will not step back from its position that Eritrean military be held accountable. So it means that if Eritrean military is not held accountable, Tigray Defense Force will try to hold it accountable. How will TDF hold Eritrean military accountable? Obviously through a military offensive. It means that if there is no improvement of relations between Eritrea and Tigray, sooner or later Tigray will take revenge. Not quote unquote, it was said by Werede, but that is what we can conclude by listening to what Werede said, that Tigray will take revenge if there is no improvement of relations between Tigray and Eritrea. Overall, I personally see this briefing by Werede as a way of putting pressure upon Ethiopian federal government that if Tigray is ready to hold talks, it does not mean that Tigray is weak. Tigray has prepared, Tigray will launch offensive, especially in western Tigray, that Tigray wants this western part at any cost. So talks should start. Before that, basic services should be restored, banking service, telecom, others. If there is no improvement, towards talks, TDF will adopt military means. So it's a message, I think, from Tigray government, Tigray Defense Force, for Ethiopian federal government. For Eritrea, it's not a surprise. It has been saying, Eritrean president, information minister, they have been saying that Tigray is making preparations for another offensive on Eritrea. So it's not a surprise, it's not a shock for Eritrean government, Eritrean army. Sooner or later, there could be resumption of hostilities between Tigray and Eritrea. EU, US, UN, regional players, all are focused on start of talks between Tigray and Ethiopian federal government. But we have not seen this proactive approach towards start of talks between Tigray and Eritrea. If there is no normalization of ties between Tigray and Eritrea, sooner or later we could see some escalation. For lasting peace and stability in this region, there should be some international, regional, African initiative to bring Tigray and Eritrea close. That is the way out of this mess which this region is in. Thirdly, we have a new story about Oromo Liberation Army, which today spoke. Its spokesperson today said almost a week has passed since Tole massacre, but government is resisting call for independent investigations. No independent investigation has started so far. Instead, the area is cordoned off. It's closed, totally closed, and information is being controlled. No one knows what's happening in Valaga. Again, OLA demanded for free, independent investigation into Tole, Gimbi, Valaga massacre. Important point, viewers, is that OLA spokesperson used the word massacre in the statement today. It means Oromo Liberation Army is confirming that large-scale civilian killings happened in Tole, West Valaga. Use of the word massacre by Oromo Liberation Army is clear enough that there was large-scale civilian killing in Tole, being confirmed by Oromo Liberation Army. Those who reject this massacre as they say that it isn't as big as being claimed. Just a few might have died there, might have been killed there. But OLA's today's statement indicates that it was a massacre, means that hundreds were killed there. And that is what has been confirmed through international news sources as well. And some groups have shared lists of names and other details of the victims who were killed there. So once again, a confirmation by Oromo Liberation Army that there was a massacre of civilians in Gimbi, Tole. Fourthly, viewers, we have a clip for you from Sudan. Eastern Sudan, large convoys of Sudanese military have been seen heading towards Eastern Sudan, towards Al-Fashaga, where tensions are all-time high. Sudanese military has launched some artillery strikes on Ethiopian territories, especially West Gondar. After 7 Sudanese soldiers were killed 2 days ago. PM Abiy just a few hours ago released a statement in Arabic, a message for the people of Sudan, for Sudan, that both countries are brotherly countries and they should try to resolve their problem through dialogue, through peaceful means. But meanwhile, Sudanese military is stepping up its presence in border areas, and reportedly Ethiopian military has also deployed some new units to the border areas, but so far Ethiopian military has not started any counteroffensive on Sudan's army. Watch this video showing arrival of Sudanese military columns in eastern Sudan. Lastly, viewers, Amhara region, where a street movement is in the making, though I don't see the likelihood of any significant street movement against the federal government. But we have seen the students have held some demonstrations. After that, security institutions launched a crackdown against student leaders and some have been arrested. Last night, Debre Birhan University was raided by security officials. There was confrontation between students and security officials at Debre Birhan University. And after that, today in the day, once again, the students protested at Debre Birhan University. We have two clips for you. First one is from Debre Birhan University. Second one is from Shiva Robit, where locals, secondary school students took to the streets against Valaga massacre. People are angry, but they're not being allowed to protest freely. If they are allowed, it could be start of public uprising against Ethiopian federal government. People are already angry against Ethiopian federal government after the government launched an operation against Fano, which is still underway. That is why government is trying to crush these protests by arresting, by abducting the leaders who are planning these demonstrations. Watch two clips. First one is from Debre Birhan University. Second one is from Shiva Robert Town. Thank you for watching.